Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here in Los Angeles, being joined with Aaron Pico, who fights this weekend on this Bellator card that's headlined by Fedor Emelianenko, fighting against Ryan Bader. You're now the co-main event, Aaron. It's a big deal, man.
Yeah, no, it is a big deal. To be on a co-main event with Fedor is pretty crazy. When they gave me the news, I was like, wow, that's awesome. But it doesn't really make a difference. Obviously, a fight is a fight. Doesn't matter if it's the first one or the last one. It's just got to go out there and do my job. So, but it's pretty exciting to be co-main event on Fedor at the Forum.
So you got, I want to say, a little bit more than a year now as a pro, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years as a pro now. I feel like I've done leaps and bounds in the sport. It's obviously I had a rude awakening in the beginning, but we progressed the crazy amount. Not just obviously physically in the gym, but outside of it, the media. I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable doing it, and most of all, I'm having fun doing it.
How would you encapsulate this almost 2 years for you? Like, are you happy with how it's gone? Was it what you have imagined?
Well, yes and no. I mean,
you imagine winning your debut, obviously.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. I always saw myself winning my debut, but everything past that has been what I imagined. Obviously people say I'm on the fast track. I am on the fast track, but I'm enjoying it. I'm taking obviously one step at a time, and I feel like I've surrounded myself with a great team, and the sky's the limit.
I know for a lot of people, losing their debut would have like destroyed them. Like mentally, they would have been like, maybe this MMA thing isn't for me. You're able to take that in and be successful. First of all, how hard was it dealing with that first fight? Yeah. And how were you able to bounce back from that and be successful now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, such a big stage and pay-per-view, a lot of people watching. Yeah, it felt terrible the first couple of days, but I was just right back in the gym. I honestly blocked everything out. I mean, I wasn't even on social media for a long time. I think I posted one picture, but it's happened before. I've lost big matches in wrestling, and then I've come on and done like crazy, won a world championship and done crazy things. So nothing really changed. I sat down with my team and, hey, shit happens. That's what I always say. Fucking shit happens. You got to move on and look where I'm at now.
No, it's true, because a lot of people would have taken something like that and would have dwelled on it. But I guess because your amateur experience with wrestling, you've been in so many matches and you use that, it helped out to deal with that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Wrestling, like I said, that's why I think wrestling is the best sport for MMA. Obviously, there's so much to learn, but I think the main ingredient is having wrestling. Because in wrestling, you train so hard, guys cut weight, and when you drop a match, it feels like the end of the world. But obviously, you have to come back and you have to wrestle sometimes that same day. So it's a good learning lesson for the fight game.
I know you were hyped a lot. There was a lot of attention on you. Yeah. Was it almost a good thing because it took like the pressure off and the attention? Do you see it like that way too, maybe, or you still feel that attention, the pressure to perform, to live up to expectations?
Yeah, I think I still feel the pressure. I feel obviously, but I've seen something on. I forgot where I was reading. Pressure is a privilege. Obviously, I'm doing something right for a lot of people to be watching me, and the only way I feel to deal with that is by training. That's why I train so much, and I have great people around me to like hold me back, because I'll train all day. And I think that's the reason why I train so much, because I love to win. I obviously hate to lose, and yeah, pressure is a good thing. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you on your toes. You wake up in the morning feeling that pressure, and that's why you're in the gym.
The life of an MMA fighter compared to a wrestler, how much different is it?
Well, I think there's just so many disciplines. For me, being in the wrestling room constantly, it gets boring. With MMA, it doesn't get boring because you got boxing, you got wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you got all kinds of stuff. So it definitely keeps you busy throughout the week, not just inside the wrestling room. At home, wrestling room. So I think that's the biggest difference. For me, that's exciting to work all the disciplines rather than just be in the wrestling room the whole time.
Now, your base is wrestling, but obviously, you've trained boxing your whole life. That's how I met you as a little kid. How have you seen that incorporation of all the other disciplines added onto your wrestling? How do you feel like your MMA game is right now compared to what it was maybe a year ago or 2 years ago?
I was just having this conversation with my brother. He said, wow, I've watched all your sparring, and he's seen every sparring session that I've been through. He says, wow, this is the first time this camp that you really start to come into your own and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And now I think I'm starting to feel what it works and what doesn't, and start to create my own little style. So that's pretty exciting. And I've only been in the game 2 years, but I love the sport. So anytime you love something, you're always looking to get better. So, but it's an ongoing process, because you'll never reach your full potential in MMA, because there's just so much to learn. But that's the beauty of mixed martial arts.
How much of a joy is it to have Tone in? Because we know Tone. Tone chokes around. He keeps things colorful. Like, how is that dynamic?
To be honest with you, Antonio is a great coach, and I click with him so well. I feel he's the best coach for me. I mean, I've known him since I was a kid, but he keeps it really light. Obviously, he makes a lot of jokes and stuff, but one thing about Antonio is he's there 6 days a week, and when it's time to work, it's time to work. He's on the mat with the guys, and he's still got it. He's the strongest guy that I know, so I'm very fortunate to have him in my corner. I love him as a person and as a coach.
It's that Tone strength, that if you're watching this, Tone, that jackhammer strength, and you know what I'm talking about too.
It's crazy. I wrestle with the best guys around the world, Olympic champions, multiple-time world champions, and I can honestly say he's the strongest guy that I've ever grappled with. It's pretty crazy.
Your goal, you mentioned yesterday, and you've said before as well, youngest world champion.
Yeah.
The window's closing. You got to do this now.
Yeah.
You see yourself after this fight vying for the title?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't rush anything. Obviously, when you start to rush things and panic, stuff usually doesn't go your way. If it happens, it happens. It's great. But if it doesn't, hey, there is no medal for being the youngest. It's just kind of a cool thing to have, you know, to say that you're the youngest champion. But we'll take it in stride. But I think when I win Saturday night, I'll be in a great position to fight for a title. But ultimately, that's not my decision. That's the promotions. But just know that I'll be ready for any phone call. If it's to fight a top 5 guy, top 3 guy, or the champion, I take every fight the same.
Now, you know, you've mentioned in interviews that you want to do boxing, that is a goal of yours. Have you thought about it, like a timeline to do that, like when you would like to do that?
Well, right now the priority is MMA, but I'd like to get some boxing fights in while I'm young and have this fire and motivation to train. I mean, I love being in the boxing club sparring with all the guys that are there. So, yeah, we'll see how it works. Get the title, get a few boxing fights in. I believe I can really do both. A lot of people say you can't, but they always say you can until it's done. So we'll have to see. But we'll take it in stride. But I'd rather do it sooner than later.
Your power is coming along, and it's always been there, but now you're really like sitting on your punches, and it's really showing. Aaron, man, it's great to see your development from where you came to like now in the future. I'm excited for you. Thank you. As always, man. Great chatting with you. Here with Aaron Pico, fights this Saturday at the Forum in Inglewood.